In the last video, I showed the delivery of my new Weber Smoky Mountain and showed the burn-in and seasoning process, and John Knapp left the comment saying now we can see a comparison video between the Weber Smoky Mountain and the Weber Summit Kamado. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. I've got a couple of racks of beef ribs, so I'm going to get them prepared, seasoned up, set up both smokers, and then we'll see how the two fare out. It's a wet, windy winter day here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's been raining a lot this weekend. Looks like the wind is gusting around 20 miles per hour when it does pick up. And I've already lost most of the day because I've been waiting for a break in the rain. I'm finally getting a little bit of a break, but I know that by the time I finish this cook, it'll definitely be nightfall. So that'll be another interesting component to this test, is to see how both the Weber Summit Kamado and the Weber Smoky Mountain behave in these conditions. So here's the Summit Kamado under cover. Get that off. Over here we've got the Weber Smoky Mountain. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the fire started for both, and let's get the show on the road. Weber Summit Kamado versus the Weber Smoky Mountain. Weber Smoky Mountain, we're gonna do the minion method. And then for the Weber Summit Kamado, just gonna dump some hot coals over the top. It has started raining again, so we're gonna keep this short and sweet. But here is a look at the beef ribs on the Weber Summit Kamado. And I'm using my combustion wireless thermometer to keep track of things. Unfortunately, my two slabs of ribs aren't the same size, so the one on the Weber Smoky Mountain is the larger size. Now, I decided not to use water in either. For the Smoky Mountain, I just have the water bowl in position, but then I just put a drip pan on that lower rack, but I'm not gonna use water. I figure with the rain and the wind, no need to really have anything else to try and stabilize temperatures. That might be a mistake, but I'm just thinking I want to be able to keep my temperatures between 225 and 275, hopefully net out with an average around 240 to 250. But that's a look at the ribs on the Weber Smoky Mountain. We're about an hour and a half into the cook, and I'm not coming outside to take a look at the beef ribs. As they say, if you're peeking, you ain't cooking. Really just coming out to make an adjustment. As I was saying it earlier, that I decided not to use water in either smoker. Now that I've given it some more thought, I probably should have used some water to help stabilize the temperatures, because the strong winds are definitely making it a little bit harder to keep my temperatures below 275. The Smoky Mountain, I've pretty much made all the adjustments that I think I can at this point, and right now it's running about 280, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. The Weber Summit Kamado, on the other hand, running about 290. So I'm gonna make a few more adjustments here. Just close the damper down. So we'll leave it there for a bit and see how that plays. I haven't used these smokers in windy conditions like this, This is only my second cook with the Weber Smoky Mountain, so I'm still learning it, and that is already a lesson learned, to use water to stabilize temperatures in windy conditions. It's been a while since I've used my Summit Kamado in conditions like this, but I think for both, high winds can definitely wreak havoc on your temperatures. It's been raining off and on, but it's really the wind that has been the challenge. I'm continuing to monitor things from inside using my combustion wireless thermometer. Have one in each slab of ribs, so that's helping me keep a gauge on what the temperature is inside of each smoker. And I'll come out and continue to make some adjustments. Really, all I'm trying to do is let these ribs continue to smoke without me looking at them, without spritzing for the first 6 hours. When we get to the 6-hour mark, that's when I'll take my first look and decide whether or not I need to spritz. We're 4 hours into the cook, and I believe the Weber Smoky Mountain does need some additional fuel at this point. Temperatures had stabilized on both the Smoky Mountain and the Summit Kamado after I made that last adjustment. This is probably crazy. I don't really know why I'm out here cooking on a day, night like this. The wind has definitely been picking up and gusting all night. I just really wanted to get this cook in and shoot some video. So gonna power through, gonna add some fuel. As a look at what we got left, let me see if I can get a closer shot. There's still some life in there, but I've got all the dampers wide open and the temperature has been falling, and it's gotten about 200 degrees, so definitely now is a good time to do that. The Summit Kamado seems to be doing just fine, so I don't think I need to add any fuel at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some more fuel in the Smoky Mountain. Still got a couple more hours before I take up my first look at the beef ribs. I'll show you where everything looks when we get to that 6-hour mark. All right, this is interesting. We're at the Weber Summit Kamado, 4.5 hours into the cook. And I shouldn't be surprised because this was a considerably smaller slab of beef ribs, and it cooked much faster than I thought it would. So 4.5 hours, I was thinking I'd probably have to check it at the 6-hour mark to spritz, and I got kind of caught up focusing on the Weber Smoky Mountain that I wasn't really paying attention to the internal temperature of the Summit Kamado version. So it appears to already be done according to the combustion. I'm also going to do a check with my ThermoWorks, my ThermaPin. Hold on, let me do that. Went in nice and smooth, and look at that, ThermaPin reading 203. So ThermaPin, combustion are pretty much aligned, giving me that internal temperature reading. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this slab off of the smoker, and I'm gonna let it rest in my Cambro. I really wanna be able to do a side-by-side taste test, so it's gonna be resting for a long time, because I think the Smoky Mountain version, I think, has a good ways to go. All right, guys, we're 5.5 hours in, and you know, this cook really turned into something different from what I started off thinking it was just gonna be about. Weber Smoky Mountain versus Weber Summit Kamado, doing beef ribs, do a taste test, see which one tastes the best. We'll still do that, but this cook turned into which one handles inclement weather better. And I'm talking rain, I'm talking extreme wind gusts. that really played havoc with my temperatures. I thought this was going to be a low and slow cook as it's starting to rain right now. I thought it was going to be a low and slow cook, but with those wind gusts, it really turned into a hot and fast cook. Weber Summit Kamado beef ribs got done in 4.5 hours, and the Weber Smoky Mountain ribs done in 5.5. I think my temperature now is probably 204 internal. I'm getting 203, okay. 203 on the ThermoWorks ThermaPen, and that was what I had my combustion set to. I thought maybe it had creeped up another degree, but again, the temperatures are aligned. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these beef ribs off of the Weber Smoky Mountain, and I'm gonna let them rest. The other ribs have also been resting, and hopefully I'll be able to get my wife Janine to come down and do a taste test, and we can see how the flavor compares between these two sets of ribs. All right, Janine, so we've got the 2 slabs of beef ribs. They aren't the same size, so one cooked a little bit quicker, faster than the other. One was smoked on the Weber Smoky Mountain, which is the newest smoker. The other was smoked on the Weber Summit Kamado. It's not a blind test for me. I know which is which, but you don't know which is which. So for you, it's a blind test. We'll call this one number 1 and this one number 2. So there we go, that's a good shot of sample number 1 with the smoke ring. Sample number 2, we also have a smoke ring going. Okay. Which is pretty impressive because, like I mentioned earlier, this cook that I thought was going to be low and slow really ended up being hot and fast because of all the wind.
Yeah, I was kind of actually a little concerned about this cook just because the wind, doesn't that just play havoc with everything? And it has been like gusting, I don't know how intensely, but it certainly sounds intensive.
Well, it plays havoc with your temperatures if you're really trying to keep it low and slow, but one of the things in barbecue that I've learned is you have to learn how to go with the flow, go with what the conditions are, and just make adjustments.
So you're happy with this outcome, sounds like.
Well, I mean, I'm not unhappy. I enjoyed getting more cooking time with the Weber Smoky Mountain so I can get a feel for the adjustments that have to be made, and none better than a day like today.
Can I take one? So
you got a piece from sample number 1.
I did. I have sample number 1. I'm eating it.
I'll start with sample number 1 as well.
Okay. What is the seasoned with? Or is that part of the taste test?
For the seasoning, this is something new. Going with Big Bo Cason, his Texas brisket rub.
Yeah, tastes good. It's really good. Like the bark tastes good.
I definitely knew it had like pepper and salt, which is what you want.
It's not over the top, it's not overly salty, but it has a nice flavor. Yeah, the bark is nice.
Yeah, it's really tender. That bark is good.
It's delicious. It's almost like candy. It's so good.
Now I'm about to try number 2.
Well, I'll say this. You may not agree with me. I think number 1 is more tender. I think number 1 is juicier. And I think number 1 is tastier. So I'm number 1 all the way.
All right, Janine is number 1 all the way. For her, it's a clean sweep. I'm just trying to decide on the tenderness part. I think they're both really good. I think I agree with you that number 1 is more tender.
It really is. I mean, it just feels like you put it in your mouth and it just melts, and I don't know. It was just singing to me when I was eating it, so it was working. It worked on all levels for me.
I think there's a difference in terms of the smokiness.
I liked the flavor of number 1 better. So for me, number 1 just checked all the boxes.
But is that just taste, or are you also thinking about smokiness? Can you tell a difference?
No, but visually, I like the smoke ring of number 1 better.
Which one do you think is number 1? Do you think it's the Weber Smoky Mountain or the Weber Summit Kamado?
I think number 1 is the Summit Kamado.
I purposely put the larger slab of ribs in the Weber Smoky Mountain because I thought it would take longer and it would give me, you know, a longer, more opportunity to continue to learn how to make adjustments, how to cook with it. So,
all right,
you're wrong.
But in the end, I won anyway because of the fact that it was my Christmas gift to you. So I'm very proud of its performance.
Right, yeah. So the Weber Smoky Mountain, this is number 1. This is the one that we both think is...
It's delicious. Like, oh my God, I'm happy that you have figured this out because I think it did a great job. It was unbelievable. Look at that ring, it's so beautiful.
I thought it turned out really good too. So I'll say this, from the
beautiful
cooking perspective in those conditions, and it's kind of predictable, the Weber Summit Kamado is easier to control in terms of the temperature, and I think that's just because of how it's built. You know, it's built with that double insulation, double walled insulation, however they describe it in their marketing materials. But it's got that extra layer on the inside that helps it maintain and be efficient. I did not have to add any additional coals to it, and I only had to make like 1 micro adjustment in terms of making a temperature adjustment. Smoky Mountain was a little more finicky. Not that it was super hard, but I did have to make a couple more adjustments. Just a matter of just sliding the exhaust and the intake, you know, opening them, closing them, you know, like a 1/4 inch with each adjustment to either increase the temperature or lower the temperature. And I did have to add some fuel after about 4 hours into the cook. But that, you know, that's not super hard. Just open that hatch, add the charcoal, and then, you know, you're good to go. Just now, continue to watch your temperatures.
Did you use straight charcoal, or did you use lumps, or what did you use?
No, for this cook, it was strictly charcoal briquettes.
Oh, okay.
So again, this was a viewer request to see how the Weber Smoky Mountain compared with the Summit Kamado. Definitely got more than I bargained for, and that this was more than just a taste test. It ended up also being like a test of how they perform in these elements with the strong winds and rain all day. Both performed very well, and I agree that the Smoky Mountain, I think, definitely is the winner in terms of the taste, the flavor. Now, in terms of the smoke profile, I can't tell the difference.
I can't either. To me, that's a dead even one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wash. For me, what put the Smoky Mountain version over the top is that it is more tender.
Oh, absolutely, by far.
This is just one taste test.
Well, of course.
Whether or not that's gonna always be the case, no matter what I cook, you know, have no idea. We'll definitely try to do maybe some baby back ribs or spare ribs and see how that compares, and some other things. But let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this video, and then if you have any ideas, any comparison videos that you would like to see. Remember, you know, I try not to just show you all the good stuff. I think I pride myself in trying to really show you what goes on during these cooks, the good and the bad, and what can be learned from it. So if you like the video and you learned something from it, got something from it, tell a friend, share the video, like, subscribe if you haven't already. And again, love to hear from you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue channel. I'm Kenyatta Robinson with my wife Janine off camera. Take care, and we'll see you soon.